Hi there guys, my name is Aaron and you can learn making create together with me in Adobe Photoshop. Today I'm going to show you how you can edit a portrait step by step using Tamara Williams Academy Panel. So without any further ado, let's get started. So before we dive into today's video tutorial, please don't forget to check all the links down in the description because you will find this amazing raw file. And you can find the Tamara Williams Academy Panel. So if you want to get the Tamara Williams Academy Panel and the brushes that we are going to use in today's video tutorial, in the discount section put ERJ10 to get 10% off. So let's get started. Here we have the helping layers. I'm just gonna click here and we have the dodge and burn help with black and white help layer, and we have the solar curve. So I'm gonna double click here in the dodge and burn help. I'm gonna increase the light just a little and leave it as it is. I'm gonna put this under the SOOC, which is straight out of camera file, and here we have the 6 different tools to clean the portrait. The first one is the spot healing brush tool. For example, you can zoom in and start cleaning with a spot healing brush tool, which is the basic tool that we use for the cleaning. The second one is the magic stamp. Usually we work by copy pasting the texture near. For example, you need to click Alt keyboard, hold it, and just click to copy and paint to paste. And the third one is the soft clone stamp tool. Usually we work with that with the Alt again, so we need to copy paste the texture as near as possible. And the fourth one is the clone stamp tool, which is hard, so you need to copy paste again as near as possible. Sorry. And the fourth one is that remove tool. For example, in the remove tool, which is one of my favorites and it's one of the latest updates of the Adobe Photoshop, which is really great, you can simply paint over areas that you want to remove. For example, just like this. Let me just show you what it's going on here, and we click here on the tick and we wait until the removing area of the remove tool does its job. It's really great for cleaning. So here's a before and after what's going on here. And the sixth one is one of my favorites, is the generative fill AI that is included inside the Tamara Williams Academy panel. And it says, for example, paint over areas to edit, and once that we have painted, let me just show you what's going on here. For example, you need to paint over the areas that we want to remove from the portrait, just like this. Make sure that you are accurate, better than me, because sometimes I lose it. I don't know why. I'm using a pen, but sometimes I can't make the straight lines. But once you're done, for example, with the painting about the areas that we want to clean, you can click here that says paint over areas to edit, and once that we are done with painting, you can click here apply and wait until the generative fill of AI does its job. Usually it takes some time to does this because depends on the painting that we did. For example, we painted only over the hair, which was not that big, but sometimes, for example, if you want to paint over a bigger space, sometimes it takes more time. So we can double click here. We need to click here on the window and click here on the properties, and here we have the 3 variations of what we've done. What Photoshop has done, the generative AI. So here's before and here's an after. Let me just show you before and after what has been happening here. And the second variation is not what we are looking for, and the third one is not what we are looking for. So the first one seems like what we needed here. And usually when you are using the generative fill AI, it's kind of blurry. So we need to click here and it will enhance the details about what's going on here. But as you can see, when we click again, it says the variation is too small to enhance. So in order to enhance the details about that part that we use the generative fill AI, we need to create some bigger spaces. For example, let me just delete this one, and I'm going to click here again on the AI. For example, I'm gonna paint it here. Let me just show you what's going on here. Paint over there, and there, for example. And let me just paint over the hair that are in the forehead, which is not looking that good. And once that we are done with the painting, we click again apply, and we wait until the generative fill of AI does its job. And I think that this time we can enhance the details about it, because in the first one the details were way too small and it couldn't enhance. So here's before and after, what's going on here. Let me just close the Tamara Williams Academy. And here we have the three variations. Let me just turn on, sorry. And the first variation, the second, and the third. Let me just zoom in. As you can see, it's kind of blurry, as I said before. So in order to do that, we need to enhance the details, because it will go from, I mean, like 1x or 2x, depends on the Photoshop. And I think that this kind of blurry, it will be removed, and we have some more crispy texture. I hope for that, because if we don't, we need to clean manually. But as I said, the generative fill AI, it's really great for bigger spaces, like removing something or removing the hair or something. And as you can see, I'm with the talking, as you can see, the texture is really great. Sorry, let me just go into the other spaces of what we've done. As you can see, a before and after. Here, for example, in the eyebrows is not that good. In the forehead is kind of looking okay. But as I said, I'm a fan of doing this in the manual way. So here's a before and after. Let me just zoom in here. And I think that we need to keep cleaning the portrait with the remove tool. So this is, as I said before, this is one of my favorites, because usually when we paint, let me just show you what's going on here. And once that we are done, I'm just going to click here, and we wait until the Photoshop does its job in this way. So I'm going to speed up this process, because it's only with the remove tool and only with the cleaning. So here we have a before and after, what remove tool has done for us. And I think that is looking really great. Let me just zoom in. As you can see, before and after, the texture is there and everything is looking perfect. So here's before and after of everything else that we've done so far. And I'm going to create, sorry, I'm just going to put the helping layers here. I'm going to click shift, click here, and rename the group clean, because we used a bunch of layers, and I don't like the layers showing up here and there, because they're kind of, I don't know, they're in my way. So now that we are done with the cleaning, it's time for the dodge and burn. So here we have the global, macro, and 50% gray. So I'm gonna click here on the global, and for example, I'm gonna start with a mild brightening. And I'm gonna turn on the helping layers. So one more thing that I usually use or I do when I am dodging and burning, I click here on the window and click the new window for the name of the file, click again to the window, arrange, and choose to a vertical. So usually in the left window, I leave it as zoom out, just like this. Let me make the right window bigger, because we need that. I'm just going to make it even smaller, just like this. As you can see, this one is the zoom out, and in the right window, I zoom in just like this. So everything that we do in the left window, it will be shown in the right one. So you have to keep an eye in the left window and work in the right one. So the opacity for this one is of the brush, sorry, is 100% of the opacity, just 1% of the flow, and we gotta keep working here to dodge and burn the portrait. So in the mild brightening, I'm going to dodge the portrait, and in the mild darkening, I'm going to burn, just like this. So we have to burn in the brighter parts, and we need to dodge in the darker parts. So as I said, you need to keep an eye in the left one. So I'm gonna click here on the helping layers, double click here on the dodge and burn help, and decrease the light of the portrait, just like this. And we will see the details that we want to dodge and burn better. So I'm gonna zoom in just a little more with 100% opacity of the brush. I'm gonna keep dodging and burning this portrait. So as I said, keep an eye in the left window and work in the right one. So here we have a before and after of a mild brightening and mild darkening that we did before. And now that we are done with the mild brightening and mild darkening, it's time for some strong brightening, which is really great for the bigger parts or bigger areas of the highlights. For example, we want to put some highlights here in the forehead, here on the cheeks, just a little on the nose. Usually I do this inside of the eyes, just like this. So now check out before and after of everything that we did, and I think that is looking okay. Now click here on the strong darkening. Usually I use the strong darkening in the parts, for example, the cheeks, around the forehead, just a little on the eyebrows, under the lips, just to create some contour. So here we have a before and after, and I think that is looking okay, but we need to lower this one because it was kind of too much. And check out before and after again, and I think that is looking absolutely gorgeous. And now that we are done with the dodge and burn, it's time for the frequency separation. So we have two different ways of the frequency separation. We have the Gaussian blur and we have the median. So I'm going to click here on the median and wait until it's done. So here we have the low base or the colors, the correct colors where we are going to use with the mixer brush. And here we have the texture in case that we want to clean just a little more. So I'm going to click here on the mixer brush. So the right settings that I'm using right now for this portrait, the wet is 10%, load by 33, mix by 33, and flow by 44. I'm going to turn off the texture right now, and I'm going to start mixing the skin tones, for example, here in the forehead. Make sure that sample all layers is set because the layer is empty. And for example, when the layer is empty, we need to click here on sample all layers in case to copy the color that are under or upper that one layer. And for example, we can mix the skin tones here and there, and as you can see here what is going on here on the cheeks. And for example, when we overdo this process, I'm going to show you later how you can undo this, for example, in the brighter parts or in the darker parts. So we gotta keep working just a little more. Now check out before and after what's going on here. So here's before and here's an after. And if you think that we have overdone, or you have overdone this process, for example, here in the highlights, you can double click here and the layer style will pop up, and here we have the highlights only, the shadows only. So I'm going to define the highlights. Just click Alt keyboard and hold it and click here, release it, and slide this half part of it just like this into the left. Click OK. Now check out before and after of this one, and I think that is looking absolutely great. And now that we're done with the correct colors, and if you want to keep working just a little more in the texture, for example, if you want to clean the texture with the clone stamp tool, usually I use clone stamp tool to clean this part with 100% of opacity, 100% of the flow, and click Alt keyboard, hold it, and click to copy and release the Alt keyboard and just paste paint to paste. Sorry, so you need to copy paste the texture. For example, you need to copy paste as near as possible because we don't want that texture to be fake. Because for example, you need to copy paste here to cover these lines, because for example, if you copy here and you paste it here, as you can see, the texture will look fake. So in order to maintain some original things, you need to copy paste as near as possible. So here we have a before and after of the frequency separation, and I think that is looking great. And if you think, for example, the correct colors is kind of too much, you can always lower the opacity of this one, but I think that is looking okay. And now that we are done with dodge and burn frequency separation, it's time for some color correction, for example, the skin tone. So I'm just gonna click on the skin tone, wait until it's done. This one is really great. For example, if you want to change the skin tones, and as you can see, it says paint to unify the skin tone here, but usually I use this method in Tamara Williams Academy, which is really great. So I'm going to click here that says quick selection, click on the skin, and only the skin will be selected. But as you can see, the color of the skin, which is kind of yellow into something like this, it's affecting all the areas. So I'm going to click here and paint inside the face only, just like this. with 100% brush and 100% of the flow. I'm going to paint it just like this. Or you can do it manually by painting over the face, just like this. You can see what's going on here, where we are painting. And we need to remove the painting from the lips, the eyes, as you can see, before and after. Let me just paint it with a black brush, just like this. Because we don't want to affect the, for example, the lips color and the eyes color with the skin tone thing, just like this. Now check a before and after, which is not showing anything because we have to pick a skin tone which is inside the pick skin tone folder. So here we have the first tone, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and I think that I'm going to stick with the third one. For example, you can increase the opacity of this one, which is 30. I'm going to go by 35. Now here we have to adjust the skin tone. For example, you can double click here, and for example, you can work in the yellow section. You can play around with them and until you find your best color for your skin tone. As you can see, a before and after. You can double click again here and you can go from yellow to reds, and we can make some changes here and there too. Let me just show you what's going on here. And as you can see, this one is kind of too much, so I'm going to go by 45%. And here you have, you can adjust the brightness of reds and yellows. For example, if you play around with the reds, as you can see, it will create a darker skin tone color, and for the yellows it goes the same thing. So I'm going to play with them just a little, not that much. I'm going to decrease the opacity of this one, and here we have the skin tone. As you can see, a before and after, which is kind of too much because the model is kind of too bright with the skin color, so I'm going to reduce it just a little. So here we have a before and after of everything, which is looking really great. So now that I'm done with the skin tone, I'm gonna play around with eyes. I'm gonna wait until it's done and zoom in, and this one is for the white of the eyes. You have to paint it inside of them to make them cleaner. As you can see, the veins will be removed completely with this one. Make sure that you paint only inside the white of the eyes. Do the same process in both of the sides. Just like this. Zoom out. And here we have a before and after, which is kind of too much. So I'm going to go by 50%. And here you have the eye color. For example, you can even change the eye color. You have to paint inside that. Just like this. You have to paint in both of them in order for them to not look fake, because we don't want that. And you can check a before and after of the eye color, which is really great. But for example, if you want to change the eye color, you can play around with the hues, just like this. And you can even leave them in the blue color, but I think that blue color is okay, but I'm gonna leave them in 25% because I don't want to lose that green color. And now that we are done with the eye white and eye color, for example, you can put some iris or some catch light to the portrait. So I'm going to click here on the iris, zoom in, and just paint it inside there, just like this. Make sure that is fitting the portrait. Maybe make a bigger one, just like this, and paint on the other one. Make it bigger. Now check a before and after. Let me just zoom out. So here's before and after, which is looking absolutely great. But if you think that is affecting the eyelashes, you can click here on the layer mask and paint them out with a default brush with 100% opacity, and do the same process in both of them, just like this. So here's before and after, which is looking really great. Now, before and after without the eye color that we changed. So here's before, here's after, here's before everything, and after, which is looking absolutely great. Now that we are done with the eyes, it's time to add, for example, some blush into the portrait. So I'm going to put this on top and paint over there on the both sides of the cheeks. So with a 10% opacity of the brush. I'm just gonna paint it over there, just like this. Now zoom out, check a before and after, and if you think that is way too much, you can always lower the opacity of that, and if you think that 30% is okay, leave it as it is. And now that we are done with the blush, it's time to add, for example, in the color correction lips, you can zoom in and create a selection with a pen tool around the lips, or you can even use the brush just to paint over there. But usually, for example, if the lips are like this, I want to create an accurate selection with a pen tool around the lips. This one is really great when we have some sharp lines of the lips, as it is right now in this specific portrait. So I'm gonna create a selection just like this, and right click, make selection, and I think the feather should be 0.2, something like that, and just paint it over there with a brush just like this. And as you can see, it's affecting the mouth inside, but I'm gonna create another selection inside the mouth to remove the color from the teeth or the mouth, sorry. Just like this, right click, make selection, and now with a black brush we are going to paint them out just like this. And as you can see, the red lips are and as you can see, the red lips are looking really great into this portrait, but as you can see, the lines are way too sharp. So I'm just gonna double click here and their properties will pop up, and we have to increase the feather in case that the sharpness will be gone, and we have the smooth lines just like this. Maybe decrease just a little more. Now check out before and after, and decrease just a little more, maybe increase just a little, maybe 3 will be enough or something like that. Let me just go by arrows, and I think that 2.2 is enough. Let me just check it before and after again. And here we have the darker lips and the colorful lips. For example, in the colorful lips, you can double click and change the color of the lips, depends on the preferences or the makeup that you're working right now. But I'm gonna leave this red color, and I'm gonna double click here. I'm going to remove the color only from the highlights. So as you can see, the layer style will pop up, and here we have the highlights, and here we have the shadows. So I'm gonna click Alt keyboard, click here, and I'm going to divide the highlights. So as you can see, the red color is removing only from the highlights. Now zoom out to check it before and after, and it's looking really great. So again, if you want to change the lipstick color, you can play around with the colors just like this. But as I said, I'm going to leave this red color and decrease the opacity of this one by 75%, leave it on 25, which is looking really great. And now that we are done with the lips, for example, you can click here on the teeth. You can zoom in inside of the mouth and just paint it over there to make the teeth brighter and more shiny, just like this. It will remove the kind of yellow color that we have inside the teeth. And now check it before and after, and if you think that 100% is way too much, always you can lower the opacity of that one. I think that 25 will be enough. And now that we are done with the lips, the blush, it's time to add some glow, but I'm gonna leave the glow for later because, for example, I'm gonna add some lashes here. So I'm gonna click here on the lashes, zoom in, and once that you have downloaded the lashes from Tamara Williams, we have a bunch of lashes which we are going to check. So here we have the lashes folder, and here we have the full top or the full bottom. So I'm gonna check the full top right now. Let me just zoom out just a little, and as you can see, we have too many different lashes for the portrait that we can use. And as you can see, this one, for example, mid 2 or mid 1, maybe mid 1 will be okay. You can zoom in and check the mid one, which is left, because we want it for the left eye. You can just make this smaller, just a little bigger, and play around with the arrows just like this. And you have to copy the color of the original lashes and just paint it there. And as you can see, a before and after, you need to click Ctrl and T to transform the lashes, and click here that says warp to make the lashes fit the original lashes that we have in the portrait, just like this. And if you think that, for example, in the side of the lashes, if you think that they're way too much, you can click here on the layer mask, right click with a default brush and the black brush with 100% of the opacity. We are going to paint them out. Sorry for that. Let me just paint. Oops, sorry. Click here on the layer mask and just paint them out. So here we have a before and after, which is looking really great. So now that we are done with the left one, you can right click and choose which was mid right. We use the mid left for the left of the eye, and now choose the mid one right for the right side of the eye. Now make the brush smaller and play around with the arrows to fit the original lashes, just like this, and just paint. So here we have, oops, sorry, we did it on the layer mask, so click here and just paint there. So here we have a before and after, which is looking really great. And if you think that they're way too much, you can always, with a black brush, you can remove them inside the layer mask. So here's before and here's after, which is looking absolutely amazing. And now that we are done with the top lashes, it's time for the bottom lashes. So you can go again to the lashes, click here, and right click and go to the full bottom and choose which one you think that fits your portrait. And I think the first one is looking okay, but you can check other lashes without any issue. And as you can see, there are a bunch of them, so I'm gonna go with the first one. I'm gonna zoom in and make the brush smaller, just like this, and just play around with the arrows until you think that the lashes fit the original lashes. So I'm gonna click here to paint, and as you can see, a before and after, you can transform them in the position that the original lashes are. Create a layer mask to remove them from the side with a default brush again and paint them out, because you don't want to mix them here and there. Now go to the other one and click again to the lashes, and as I said, we had the first one, the low, and I'm going to make the lashes smaller, just like this. Play around the arrows to fit the original lashes, just like this. I think here is okay. Click transform and click here in the warp and just choose the position of the original lashes, just like this. Now check out before and after, and if you think they are looking not that good, you can always paint them out, for example in the sides or here, just a little. Now check it before and after, which is looking okay. Now I'm going to put them inside a folder and rename lashes. And now that we are done with the lashes, it's time to add some eyebrows to the portrait. So click here on the brows and it says pick color from model eyebrow, and I think it's this one, but we can zoom in and copy another color which is kind of darker, maybe a darker one, and click B for brush. And here we have the brushes of the eyebrows. Here we have a bunch of them, is the full set. We have too many different eyebrows for the portrait that we can use. For example, as you can see, the model has some bigger brows, and I think that I'm gonna go with the second one. Yeah, the second one looks great. Make the brush smaller, just like this. Zoom in and play around with the arrows until you think the eyebrows fit your original one, and just paint. So here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely amazing. Now do that in the other one. Make the brush smaller, just like this. As I said, play around with the arrows and just paint. Let me just paint. As you can see, a before and after, which is looking really great. Now I'm going to create a layer mask here, and I'm going to remove some of the eyebrows that I don't want to be shown in the portrait, just like this. Now check it before and after, and I think that they're looking absolutely amazing, and I think they're looking okay. Now check it before and after of everything that you did before and after. As you can see, here we have the eyebrows, which are looking really great. And now that we are done with the iris, freckles, we didn't add freckles, sorry, brows, eyeliner, lashes and hair. For example, you can even put some glow to the portrait And for example, here we have some eyeliner and freckles that, for example, you can put to the portrait, but I'm gonna leave it as it is right now. So I'm gonna click here on the glow, wait until it's done. So here we have the highlights. I'm gonna click here on the quick selection and click on the highlights only, and I'm gonna paint with a white brush inside of the face, just like this. So here we have a before and after, which is looking absolutely amazing. And here we have a before and after of everything that we did before. And now, for example, that we are done with the color correction and details, for example, you can even put some skin texture to the portrait. So here we have the skin texture section, and here we have the skin texture highlight, side cheek texture, highlight texture, hand and skin texture, forehead skin, forehead pores, cheeks highlights, forehead pores individual, and cheek pores individual. So I'm gonna click here on the skin texture highlight and just paint over there where I want to put some skin texture, just like this. And we have to reduce it because, as you can see, with 100% is way too much. So I'm gonna go by 35. Now check it before and after, which is looking really great. You can go back again to the skin texture and click add. And for example, we can click here that says cheeks highlight, click play and just paint it there, just like this. You can do that process in both of them. But as you can see, in the left one, we have a less highlight, just like this. So we need to be careful in this part because it will look really fake. So as you can see, with 100% is looking fake, but we need to reduce the opacity by 75%, maybe 65, something like that. And you can even paint just a little here. And I think that they're looking okay, but as you can see, when we zoom out, they are kind of too much. So I think that 35 is way too much. So I'm gonna go by 20. Now check out before and after of everything that you've done. And I think that is looking okay. And now that we are done with the skin texture, it's time to click here on the finish and wait until this process is done. So I'm gonna put this here. And I'm gonna create a group from everything that we did before. So here's everything about the tools that we used and everything that we did. And here we have the finish. So as you can see, the finish, it's an amazing job that is provided to us by Tamara Williams Academy Panel. So here we have, let me just zoom out. Here we have a before and here is an after. Here's before and here's an after. Let me just zoom in here in the face. As you can see, the texture is looking absolutely amazing. This is what we are looking for. As you can see, the eyes that are looking really great. As you can see, the eyebrows, the texture on the forehead is looking really great. Here we have the lips, which are absolutely amazing. So here's before, here's after, here's before, here's an after. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Please don't forget to check all the links down in the description because you will find the raw file and you will find the Tamara Williams Academy Panel. And in order that you want to get the Tamara Williams Academy Panel and the brushes that I used in this video tutorial, in the discount section put ERJ10 to get 10% off for these amazing tools. Let me know in the comments if you learned something from me or not. Let me know if I'm understandable or not, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.